www.thehopeappeal.com.
Introducing Iman Bookstore, the Hujjat bookstore for all your Islamic literature. With over 600 titles including Al-Kafi, Mafatihul Jinan and children's books, there's something for everyone to brighten their homes. Visit www.hujjatbookshop.co.uk now.
Ahkam in brief. Wudu. Wudu is an act of worship which is needed for saying the daily prayers. It's also needed for other rituals such as the tawaf around the Kaaba during Hajj or Umrah, touching the writing of the Holy Quran, and a few other rituals. Wudu is performed with water. The water must be tahir, so you can't make wudu with najis water. The water must be ownerless and not usurped. The water must be pure, like the running tap water in our homes, and it shouldn't be mixed with any other liquids like lemon juice. So now, how to perform wudu? There are 4 general steps. Washing of the face, washing of the arms, wiping of the head, and wiping of the feet. And now, let's get to know them in detail. First of all, your intention should be to seek proximity to Allah and nothing else. Then, wash your face from the head's hairline above the forehead to the chin vertically, and horizontally as much as the expanse of your hand between the thumb and the middle finger. Note that you should do the washing from the top to the bottom of the face without the need to soak thick beard hair if you have it. Secondly, wash your right arm from the elbow to the fingertips using the left hand. The direction of washing should be from the elbow down to the fingertips. Repeat this step for the left arm, this time using your right hand. Third, wipe with your right hand while it is still wet the front of your hair, preferably with the palm of your hand, starting from the top of the head to the hairline, excluding the forehead. Note that the wiping area should be completely dry before this step. You can wipe the hair with no need to wipe the scalp. Fourth, while both hands are still wet from the previous steps, wipe your right foot with your right hand from the toes to the ankle. Repeat this and wipe your left foot with your left hand. Note that the wiping parts should be dry, and you are not allowed to use new tap water for these steps. That's it. The wudu is done, and now you are in a state of tahara. There are a few general instructions which you have to observe performing your wudu. All the parts of your body which are engaged in wudu, including your face, hands, arms, top of the head and feet, should be tahir before making wudu, or at least they should become tahir while you're washing them. Wudu must be sequential. That is, the washing of the face should come before that of the arms, your right arm before the left one, and wiping the head before wiping the feet. The wudu acts should be carried out uninterrupted and without any delay. You should continue the process while the previous washed or wiped parts are still wet. Otherwise, if the delay causes the parts to become dry, the wudu is void. This is exceptional if they become dry as a result of strong wind or hot weather, while you're continuing in your normal pace. You must do the acts of wudu by yourself as long as you are able to do so. And if you are disabled or unable to do this, someone else can help you. For example, by lifting your hand and washing your face with it. There must not be any barrier masking your body skin from the wudu water, such as paint, glue or nail polish. Using water shouldn't be detrimental to one's health. In such a case, you should perform tayammum instead of wudu. Finally, a question. What invalidates the wudu? There are 7 things which invalidate it. Urination, passing stool, breaking wind, sleep, anything that makes you unconscious, such as falling unconscious, or drunkenness. Medium and minor istihada for ladies, and finally, janaba.
See, life is all about energy. Everything in life is about energy, and in life there's an energy scale of between 1 and 10, where 1 is over here and 10 is over here, but most people play life over here. But everything which you want out of life lives over here, but most people play life over here. Do you know why? When you jump off the cliff of life, then you can live within your gift. Why? Because parachutes don't open when you're standing still. You've got to jump for your parachute to open. It's comfortable because it's safe. But when you start getting outside of your comfort zone, when you start living over here, life feels very, very, very uncomfortable. And you know, as you want to grow, the one thing which is going to happen is you're going to hit problems. And most people in life, they don't want problems. Imagine this. Imagine if you went to the local hospital right now and you asked them to take a heart trace of you and they put some ECG leads on you. What would your heart trace look like? It would look like that, right? But most people want a life like that. The people don't want those up and down problems. They don't want the lows and the highs and the lows and highs. They want it to be flat. But if your heart line, if your trace was flat, you'd be dead. So I want to tell you one thing, that life's going to have ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. But I've coached from startups to billionaires. And the one thing I can promise to you is even the billionaires have low points. But you know what the key in life is? The key is how you stay in the lowest points for the least amount of time possible. That 2 minutes of negativity causes 4 hours of immunosuppression. That if you're negative for 2 minutes, your body's beaten down for 4 hours. You can literally kill yourself by being negative. And so many of us, we've got thoughts which are holding us back. There's negativity which is there from when we were a kid, and it's not even our fault. That let me tell you one thing, the first thing you need to do, that understand that life's this journey, but the growth happens on the downhills. The growth never happens. And do you know what? For you to get to the next stage of your life, for you to grow, Allah's going to give you problems. And those problems are going to get harder and harder and harder, because probably right now, can you remember a time when you had a really big problem in your life? And at that point, you thought it was the worst problem ever. And now that problem seems little. Why is that? It's because you've grown as a person. And now your problems get bigger and bigger and bigger. But understand, that's why Allah gives us problems. Allah gives us problems to grow, not just to give us a hard time. Think of the lobster. The lobster's a mushy animal with a thick outer shell. And how does a lobster grow? When a lobster wants to grow, it feels pain. It feels so much pain, and it goes under a rock. It sheds its shell, and that's how it grows. And then it grows a new shell. And then for it to become the next version of itself, the better version of itself, then it grows a new shell. And then it goes through problems. Then it goes through pain. Now imagine if lobsters had doctors. It would go to the doctor, and the doctor would give it a Valium, and the lobster would be happy, and it would never grow. So in your life, understand that problems are here to make you grow. Problems are here to shape you. Now let me tell you a story. There was a farmer one day. And this farmer loved his wife so much. And one day, his wife passed away. And this farmer only had 2 things left. He had a son and he had a horse. And what the son used to do is the son used to sit on the horse, and the horse used to plow the field, and that used to pay for the farmer's house and the farmer's upkeep. And one day, this horse ran away. And all the villagers, they came to the farmer and they told the farmer, God really mustn't like you. What have you done to upset God? Because first he takes your wife away, and now he takes your horse away. That's cruel, right? And the farmer turns around to the people in the village. He puts his hands behind his back. He bends down like this. And he says, maybe. And all the villagers are stunned. What does that mean? And then the villagers go away. 2 days later, this horse actually comes back. But with this horse, the horse brings back another 3 wild horses with him. And all the villagers come back and they go to the farmer. God must love you so much. What have you done to please him so much? First, he takes the horse away, but now he doesn't bring you back your horse, but he brings you back another 3 horses as well. You're the richest man in the village. You know, God must love you so much. What have you done? And the farmer turns around to the people. He puts his hands behind his back. He bends down. And he says, maybe. And all the villagers are stunned and then they go away. 3 days later, the son is on one of these wild horses and he's taming the horse. And all of a sudden the horse pushes the son against the wall. The son hits his back against the wall. He breaks his legs and now he's in a wheelchair. And all the villagers run back to the farm and they say, oh my God, God really mustn't like you. You know, God really, your son was the only guy who could help you build your fortune. And now, you know, God's taken your son away. What have you done? Why doesn't God love you? And the farmer turns around to the people. He puts his hands behind his back. He bends down. And what does he say? Yeah. He says, maybe. And all the villagers go away. A week later, there's an announcement in the village. And what it is that the country's going to war. And the army is going to come in to take each and every able-bodied man so they can go to war. But this isn't just any old war. This is a big war. The country they're fighting is 5 times the size, and each and every man which enters into this war will never come out alive. So the army comes in, and the army picks out each and every able-bodied man, and he comes to the farmer's house. Yeah, and you know the story, right? That they look at the farmer's son, and they say, you're not fit for war, so you stay behind. And the army went away. And all the villagers came back to the farm and they said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, God must love you so much. All of our men, all of our sons have been taken to war, but your son is the only one who's been spared. God must love you so much. What is it that you've done? And the farmer turns around to the villagers. He puts his hands behind his back. He bends down. And what does he say? Yeah, maybe. And do you know how this story ends? Do you know how this story ends? It doesn't. This story just goes on and it goes on and it goes on. But do you know the moral of the story is? That it's trust the process. Allah has your back covered. That life doesn't happen to you, but life happens for you. And when you understand that, then you ask yourself the most important question. That am I going through life or am I growing through life? And when you start growing through life, then you stop telling Allah how big your problems are, but you start telling your problems how big Allah is. And when you understand that, then life changes because you understand that your problem is your greatest gift. That don't ever ask Allah for peace, never ask Allah for safety. Don't ask Allah to take your problems away. Ask Allah.
نأتي إلى المحور الثاني. لماذا خلق الله الإنسان؟ أليس الله غني